Welcome to the Prepper Almanac. Thank you for joining us today. It is deeply appreciated. In today's video we are going to discuss the bug out basics for preppers. And if I give you value in today's video, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I would appreciate it. The thought of bugging out from a prepper's homestead almost seems like a contradiction. In the minds of most people, the idea of the perfect bug out location is defined by a homestead. Natural disasters respect no boundaries. Wildfires can threaten everyone and flooding will always happen and lately, have been happening more and more. The same is true for tornadoes, hurricanes, rockslides, and even some long-term natural calamities like drought and the random sinkhole. An evacuation or bug out is rarely a calm event. Most people actually hold out as long as possible and some choose to bug in. But when a prepper abandons the farm, it's a good bet it's for a very serious and threatening reason. Their immediate priority would be the same as any other evacuee: the safety and security of their immediate family. Livestock is the biggest difference. Anyone bugging out will bring along the family dog or cat, but when you have a barn full of livestock and a henhouse filled with chickens, everything gets complicated. Not a lot of people will dwell on abandoning an apartment in the city, but for someone who has built their home by hand, framed and constructed a barn with their neighbors, and can remember planting every tree on their property, it's different. Many people who have owned a home may feel the same to some degree, but so much of a homesteader's lifestyle is defined by their skills and their hands, it's hard not to feel a connection to everything. As far as the buildings and other structures are concerned, they're not going anywhere unless you have a tiny home on wheels. But here again, there are steps you could take to at least protect, if not preserve, some of what you're leaving behind. The standard bug out bag. A lot of what defines the contents of a bug out bag is driven by the duration of any disastrous event. The standard recommendation is for something called a 72-hour kit. It has enough food, water, and other supplies to sustain one person for 3 days. Here's what you usually find in a commercially available 72-hour kit. Water, 1 gallon per person per day for several days, for drinking and sanitation. Food, at least a several-day supply of non-perishable food. Battery-powered or hand-crank radio and a NOAA weather radio with tone alert. Flashlight. First aid kit. Extra batteries. Whistle, to signal for help. Plastic sheeting and duct tape, to shelter in place. Moist towelettes, garbage bags and plastic ties, for personal sanitation. Wrench or pliers, to turn off utilities. Manual can opener, for food. Cell phone with chargers and a backup battery. What many lists miss in these 72-hour kits include important documents that are irreplaceable. Cash, at least $300. Treasured family photos, even if you're returning home they may be damaged or gone. Prescription medications. Non-prescription OTC medications. Pet food and things you would need for your pet. Infant and childcare supplies including baby formula, bottles, fiber diapers, can be washed and reused, child dose OTC medicines. Hygiene supplies like soap, toothpaste, toilet paper, feminine hygiene products. Additional clothing, particularly socks, underwear and hooded jackets. Hats and gloves if winter or in a cold climate. Solar power bank to recharge cell phones. And finally, unique prepper additions to a 72-hour kit. Home cooking spices, herbs and baking ingredients like yeast, baking powder, baking soda in small jars or bottles. Quick fixes with a small tool case with a multi-tool, hammer, 12 large nails, multi-screwdriver, 24 wood screws, 100 feet paracord, wire cutter/pliers, duct tape. Individual nesting cook kits with frying pan, plate, small pot, cup. 2 mylar blankets per person to improvise shelters, solar reflector oven, rain collection, signaling, added warmth. Hatchet multi-tool with hatchet, hammer, spike, shovel. You could assemble your own 72-hour bag, and for anyone including a prepper that might be the best approach. The reason is you will probably want to pack some of the items we discussed and more that could allow you to engage the unique prepper skills you possess. These 72-hour kits are designed to be either packed in a vehicle or carried on your back in a backpack. That's in case you need to bug out on foot. The question becomes, how much weight can you carry if you have to bug out on foot, and for how long? If your vehicle breaks down or the roads are impassable due to traffic, landslides, flooding, wildfires or any other results of the disaster, you're going to be on foot. The simplest solution is to step back and prioritize based on your family's needs and your skills and ability to improvise solutions. You can also divide up equipment amongst your family or group and eliminate anything that's redundant. If you're confident you can construct a shelter from found or natural materials, you don't need to carry all of the things associated with a shelter like tents and tarps. Remember, everything is on your back when you're bugging out on foot. If you are expert at locating, filtering and purifying water, you may only need a basic water filter/purifier. Packing water is heavy. 1 gallon weighs 7.5 pounds. Keep the canteens and the water filter, but use your skills to find and purify water. If you have experience with pioneer cooking skills, you won't need to carry a portable kitchen on your back. Many pioneers cooked on spits, stakes in the ground and log splits. If you find yourself away from home for a long period, or even when you return, you'll have the ability to start a garden in the event of long duration after effects. If you're knowledgeable about natural, herbal remedies, you can improvise solutions for basic medical needs. Medicines don't actually weigh all that much, but if you run out, you're ready. If you're accomplished at wild foraging, fishing and hunting, you won't need to pack as much food. Keep some high-calorie, high-energy bars and supplements, but find your own food. The list goes on, but a prepper may have many advantages during a bug out that not only includes what they can do with some basic equipment and supplies. Any evacuation usually carries unknown factors. How long will you be gone? The only upside to most natural disasters is that they tend to be short-term events. Hurricanes can go on for a day, but even something as threatening as a wildfire or tornado tends to come and go fairly quickly. What's always a concern is the damage any disaster leaves in its wake. A wildfire may come and go fast, but what it leaves behind is usually a devastated landscape. The same is true for the flooding caused by major storms and hurricanes, and any areas in the path of a tornado. Even if an event allows you to return to your homestead after 3 days, you will eventually confront the damage the disaster left behind. And that can lead to some thoughts about additional things you want to pack out when you evacuate. A homesteader's checklist for a bug out, we're going to include a lot of stuff, but we'll try to prioritize. In terms of transport and organization, the bug out box is a good concept. This assumes a successful bug out in a vehicle. These bug out boxes allow you to easily and quickly load up and get out. Here's what to think about for each one of these bug out boxes. The basic 72-hour kit we have already covered. A tent that can comfortably sleep and support you and your family, whether on the road, or back home and living outdoors following flood, fire or other types of damage. Don't forget stakes, cordage, and anything else you need to set up and support the tent. Sleeping supplies that could consist of blankets and pillows or simply sleeping bags for the family. Times that call for an evacuation are usually a mess. There's a good chance your clothes will get wet, muddy, ripped and torn. Laundry without a washing machine is always an option, but that takes time. Remember extra shoes as well. You could also buy a family-sized, nesting camp cook kit or assemble your own stuff, including Dutch oven, large stock pot, large and medium pots that can be hung over a fire, large frying pan, medium and large saucepans, plates, cups, and cutlery, percolator coffee pot, fire grate to support pots and pans over the fire, hand tools you would need to rebuild, repair and reconstruct your home and other outbuildings. Hammer. Set of screwdrivers. Assorted wood screws. Wrenches. Nuts and bolt assortment. Hand saws for both rough timber and lumber. Axe. Hatchet. Wedges for splitting wood and rails. Sledgehammer. Tool belt. Vice grips. Assorted pliers. Assorted rope, cable and chains. 500 feet of paracord. Fabric for basic clothing repairs. Sewing kit with needles and thread. Buttons and snaps. Pet supplies. Watering bowls, a spare pot or pan could do, but sanitation is a consideration. Harnesses, collars, leash, and anything else you need to lead and control your pet. The livestock dilemma. This is all about time. If a natural disaster like a wildfire or flood is looming, you may not have a lot of time to think about how to bug out with your livestock, or may not have the ability to take them at all. On the other hand, if you have some time and have done some pre-planning, you may be able to find some solutions. Relocate them to a neighbor's or family member's home that has at least the amount of land to hold them or even house them. Not simple, but a shared agreement to do the same for them may make the proposition and planning easier. Sell them. You may not get the best price, but you'll find a lot more people who will come and get them quickly if the price is right. Turn them loose. We mentioned this earlier, and if time is not on your side, you may need to simply let them run free. Some will no doubt stay in the area, but as any immediate threats appear, they'll at least have a chance to escape. Make sure they're tagged so you at least have a chance to recover some of them later. Horses are a different story, and few horse owners will abandon their horses. If you can't transport your horse and are unwilling to quickly sell it, you could hop on and ride it out. That's a dangerous proposition if wildfire or any other fast-moving disaster is the threat, but it's an option. Transporting livestock. Many preppers with livestock have the means to transport them. This is usually a trailer. If you are concerned about your livestock during a bug out and don't have one, now may be a good time to think about getting one. But even if you have a trailer for livestock, it's a question of how many can you transport. Most people who raise livestock only transport a few animals at a time, either when they are purchased, slowly taken to market, or in some instances to the vet. Just because you have a livestock trailer doesn't mean there will room for all. Then again, if you have neighbors with trailers and your homestead is uniquely threatened, you could organize a cattle train to move them out. This assumes there's a location that can house them, but it's another option. There are no hard and fast rules. Every homestead varies, and the challenges you'll face if you have to bug out will no doubt be unique to your situation. If you're concerned about the growing threats of wildfires, flooding, and the other natural shocks that climate change seems to be driving, now may be a good time to think about your options. Your first priority will always be the health and well-being of your family. But if your homestead is your only home, it's definitely worth the time and effort to make some plans for a homestead bug out. As we wrap up today's video, if you have any questions or if there are any topics that you would like discussed in the future, let us know in the comment section below. We love to get video ideas from the community. And let us know what you think of today's video as well. We always appreciate input. Be sure to like today's video and subscribe to the channel to learn more about prepping, and share the video with others that may have a passion for prepping or are curious about prepping in general. In addition, to support the channel, feel free to click the thanks button below. And lastly, we have put some links to some prepper supplies that you might want to check out in the description below. Thanks for watching the Prepper Almanac.